Hey guys, I'm back to do another review of episode 10 of Push Girls. I know this is really late, but I had a death in the family and it was just really hectic. But I'm back and I'm going to try to do episode 11 today, if not tomorrow after church. The episode started out with Chelsea coming into town. And this time she's going to stay with Tiffany and Angela. She normally stays with Audie. She's in town to rehearse for a Colors in Motion show that she's doing with Mia and Audie, and the show is going to be this trip. It shows Tiffany helping Chelsea put air in her tires, and Chelsea says how when her accident first happened, she thought that she would end up being dependent on her parents for the rest of her life, but she's learned how to become self-sufficient. She says how when you're in a chair, it becomes easy to fall into a trap of having people do things for you. And it does. If you're not independent, you become lazy. And I think being in a chair, you strive harder to be independent. Or you should. Tiffany wanted to challenge Chelsea, so she took her mini-golfing. And when they got there, they had to go up a curb, but it was like a regular side of the curb, not like the regular side of the sidewalk, not a regular curb. And Chelsea's like, I can't get up, and right away Tiffany's like, don't say you can't. And that's how I grew up. Anytime that word came out of my mouth, I was shushed. Chelsea says she likes to be challenged because it makes her feel good when she does something and accomplishes it that somebody didn't think she could do. And I love being able to say, I told you so. So I completely agree with her there. Tiffany also likes to shock people when they tell her, oh, this isn't accessible, or you can't do this because it's not accessible. She's like, oh yeah, watch me. And I do the same thing, although it does piss me off when places aren't accessible, because I really think they just should be. I mean, I've had to learn not to expect that from people, because unless you're in the situation, you don't even really know what is considered accessible or not. Like, an able-bodied person can say, oh, that's accessible, but I can look at it and go, no, it's not. So you have to adapt. Chelsea asks Tiffany if she's ever been mini-golfing before her accident, and she had been. Chelsea's having a little trouble with the fact that it's been 2 years since her accident. She had become comfortable in saying that it's only been a little over a year since her accident. She liked being able to say that 1 year thing, so 2 years is getting pretty hard for her. I'm sorry, the sun just went behind a cloud. I hate making dark videos. It's another reason that I slack sometimes. Chelsea doesn't want people to start saying, oh, you've been in the chair for a while, so you're okay. And I understand that the emotions of being in it are probably not gone for her yet, and probably won't be for a while because she's so young. But I also don't like how it sounded as if she wanted people to pity her still and be like, oh, you're in a chair, instead of, oh, you're just a person and you've been in the chair for a while now. I kind of feel like she should start wanting to be defined as just a person and not, oh, look at that girl in the chair. Tiffany says she understands where Chelsea's coming from because she felt that way when she was first in a chair. And, in a way, I can't relate because I've been in my chair all my life. I don't know what it's like to have an ability to walk taken away from me. The only memories I have being up walking are in clunky braces and a clunky walker, and I hated it. So, who am I to talk? I can't relate and say, oh, she should, start to adapt. So, she should, because she has no choice right now, but I can understand the emotions coming back where she doesn't want to have to do what she has to do. Tiffany says how after your injury, you don't know what's in store for you. She knows it's hard for Chelsea because being in a chair isn't something that you want to advertise, in her opinion at least. I'm proud of who I am and my chair, but I mean, again, the whole having who you were taken away from you, I can't relate to that. Both of the girls went to prom in their wheelchairs, and Chelsea actually won prom queen. And she says how she thinks that the kids just felt bad for her. She's a pretty girl though, so I think she just won it. Chelsea says how it's nice to have somebody who understands when the topic of the accident comes up, because if you're talking about it with somebody who can't understand, they're not going to make you feel better about your emotions that you're going through. And that's with everything. You want to have somebody who understands whatever you're going through at that time of your life, or can at least sympathize and not tell you to get over it. Then we get to the hard part of the episode for me. Lottie and Eric are producing an album together. They went in for a recording session, and Eric didn't have the lyrics on him. So Lottie thought he should freestyle, but he didn't want to because he doesn't think he's good at it. And they argue because Lottie wants to have the album done before they even think about having a baby, and then with her age, they kind of have to work on having a baby soon. So it's just really hectic and frustrating, and it's, I think, getting to the both of them. But they're fighting, and I don't like it. And then they, get interviewed and say a few things, how Lottie says how Eric can get a little mean when they fight, and I'm just not even going to get into any of that because I don't like when they fight. Then we go to Colors in Motion doing a sound check. They've been getting a lot of gigs lately because of the popularity of the show, which is really good. I'm still holding out hope for a wheelchair from them. We'll see. Chelsea says how she never thought she'd dance again until she saw a video of Lottie dancing when she was in the hospital. And she was even skeptical of it until she met Lottie in person. Now, as she said, she danced before the accident, so at this show she brought her able-bodied coach. And she's also in an able-bodied dance group with him, well, that he coaches. And she thought that it would be cool for the kids at this show to see something different. When she told Lottie about it, Lottie kind of got a little annoyed because she didn't ask her permission. And I mean, it's her group, so I guess. But it ended up being where she asked Mia, who is also in the group. So, take whatever from that you wish. As we know, Lottie and Mia have been friends for 7 years, and Mia says that Lottie likes to control everything about the dance group, and she's kind of a diva sometimes. And they almost get into an argument until Chelsea says it's time to get ready. Lottie freely admits that she's a control freak and says that after losing so much control of her life after the accident, she strives to get it back. And I completely understand where she's coming from with that. I mean, I completely sympathize, because I can't relate to having lost more out of my life than they have, as I've said. But, when you're in a situation where a lot of people think you can't do things, you want to be able to control things and show them that you can. So the coach is allowed to dance, but during his performance, Lottie freestyled, and it kind of took away from him. Then we go back to Lottie and Eric again, and they're in the car this time, but still arguing, because Lottie doesn't feel like Eric is into it because of this incident with the song, that he didn't want to freestyle. I actually tweeted about the argument to Lottie, and she's like, arguing is healthy. I know, but you're too cute together. Then we go to Tiffany, Mia, and Chelsea out to eat. The topic of the dance group comes up. Chelsea says how they don't really have a coach because Alti is too busy to practice sometimes. But Chelsea's too afraid to say anything and step on anybody's toes. Or I should say, run over anybody's toes. She feels weird telling Alti what to do because she's been doing it since Chelsea was born. So. And Mia says how she doesn't think that she could speak up about it either. But Chelsea says again how she doesn't want to keep doing the same routines over and over. Chelsea actually has a goal as a dancer to make it big, and she feels like being in the group doing the same routines over and over, that's not going to happen for her. Chelsea says that they need to just sit Alti down and be honest with her. Tiffany says how she's glad she's not on the team because Alti can be intimidating. She's a New Yorker though, so I don't really find her as intimidating as they might. Then we go to Alti and Eric's house, and it seems like things are smoothed over, and Alti tells Eric to go get ready to go to the studio. He asks her if she's talked to Chelsea since the performance. She says no, Chelsea hasn't called or texted or anything, and it's hurting her because she feels like she took Chelsea under her wing, and now this is happening. She feels like her emotions are going to come out, and she says that they do need to in order for the group to move forward. She feels Chelsea is trying to stay away from her, and she admits she can be a little bossy. So Eric suggests that they have a rehearsal that night. Now, the whole time that they're talking, Eric is sitting in Alti's other wheelchair, which is hysterical. I love that. Alti loves how Eric can listen to her problems and give her good, honest advice, no matter what they're going through. He does wheelies in her chair, and she tells him to do her signature pose in the beginning credits of the show, and then he wheels to the car with her. It's just so cute. Then we go to the rehearsal, and Chelsea says how before her accident, she would have no problem speaking up about her problems or concerns to her coach. She feels she lacks confidence now and doesn't know how to open up. Alti says how the girls are being very easygoing that night and just going with the flow, doing what she wants and not having any enthusiasm. So she's picking up on something being wrong. And I just thought it was funny because she doesn't want to be argued with, but she doesn't like when they go with the flow either. Chelsea knew that she had to confront Alti, but she didn't know when or how to go about it. She says she doesn't have a fear of talking to her, but she doesn't want her to take things the wrong way, and she doesn't know what's going to happen. Which is kind of the same thing as fear. Mia thinks Chelsea's afraid of overstepping boundaries, and I think she's right. Then during rehearsal, Chelsea accidentally makes Alti fall out of her chair. And Mia says how she doesn't think it was on purpose, but maybe it should have been. Eek. And Alti does think it was on purpose. Mia says she thinks that Alti knows what's going on, but she's trying to switch it around to not being her fault. Alti then flat out asks Chelsea if she's done anything that rubbed her the wrong way. Mia says how she could have stood up for Chelsea during all this, but she wanted to stay low and let Chelsea stand up for herself. Chelsea says how nothing's wrong, but she just expected to have a new routine by now. And she goes on to say that they keep saying they'll practice, but they never do. And I kind of feel like it's hard with friends, especially older friends that have their own lives, to be able to have schedules that link up all the time. So it's going to be hard, but if they really want to do this, they should start to find time to practice. Chelsea says how there's miscommunication, and Alti says how she knows she's the leader, but she isn't the only one on the team. She wants to hear their ideas, and she doesn't want them to be afraid to voice them, or to tell her if they don't like her ideas. Now, through all of this, Mia is really quiet, and Alti just tells her to say something. So she says that it's a learning process, but she did feel the same as Chelsea when she first met Alti. she was controlling and wanted things perfect, and Mia was afraid she wouldn't live up to that. Chelsea thinks that Authy switched the conversation around to where she was in control of it. And she says she's not comfortable enough to stand up to her yet, and she feels she should have gotten more out. With the last few minutes of rehearsal, Authy asks Chelsea to show her some moves that she was thinking about doing. The Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach hosts an event called the Festival of Human Abilities, and for the past 8 years, Colors in Motion has been invited to perform. Chelsea thinks that Authy thinks everything's okay with them, but it's really not. She says it may be her last time dancing with them if things don't change. These days, Authy has a lot going on, so control is really important to her. She says how being in a wheelchair, you're put into vulnerable situations, and regaining that control is hard. And again, I've always been taught from day one how to keep control because I was born with a physical challenge. These girls have to relearn a lot, so I know it's pretty hard. That's it for this review. I will try to do another review today, but I have to still edit this one and put it up. So if not today, then tomorrow. So just bear with me, guys. I am going to continue to do these. Subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.